Hi, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution channel. My name is Michael and I'm a car and tech enthusiast. In today's episode, we're going to go through the OTA update of the BYD Seal, the features of that update. We're going to be performing the update till about halfway, and we're also going to be talking about the differences between the BYD Seal 2024 model and the BYD Seal 2025 model. I hope you enjoy this episode. So it says here, during the upgrade process, the vehicle will not be able to drive except for unlocking, locking interior lamps, double flashing lamps, and window rising and lower functions. Other vehicle functions will be temporarily disabled. Before upgrading, please ensure the gear has been shifted to P, which in my case it is. The remaining power is greater than 20%. Now we've got 81% on the vehicle, and the hood is closed. It is normal for the dashboard and pad to turn off the screen during the upgrade process. This upgrade is estimated to take 101 minutes. Now that is something I'm surprised with. You can click here to view the upgrade instructions. So this talks about the new features. Added the EV trip charging planner function within the navigation system, which that's a major upgrade. Added multiple apps in BYD Store. Added the Google search function within the navigation system. Again, this is a nav update. Added the preference setting for notification sounds, adjustable across 3 levels. Added bottom navigation bar customization function, which is all this bottom bar items here. Added the lane departure assist switch on the convenience bar. Great. Added auto power on and off function. Now what this does is when you enter and exit the car, it'll actually turn this unit on and off. It'll turn the car on and off without having to press the start and stop button. Added password to drive function to avoid theft. Now what that does is you can have a PIN code. As soon as you turn on the car, it'll say enter the PIN before you drive off. That's optional. Added automatic activation of the low beam and position lights during nighttime. Excellent. And the feature optimizations. Optimize the BYD intelligent cockpit system with improvements to the visual interface and interactive operations. Optimize the interactive experience of the BYD Assistant. Optimize the user experience for Android Auto and CarPlay. Optimize the translations of system languages. Optimize the sensitivity of the FCTB in roundabout scenarios to reduce false triggering. Optimized AC control logic while using the remote control via the BYD app. So now we're ready to upgrade. The console momentarily turned on, the instrument display, and it's turned off now. Now it did say it's going to take a while. So at this stage it's most probably downloading the software update, and of course after that it'll then go through the application of the software update into the different systems within the car. Now, of course, during this whole process, it can take a while, but I don't mind, honestly, just watching it, even though it's like watching the grass grow. Like, the good thing about all of this is a free update. I'm not actually paying anything for this update. Now, it is well overdue, because I know with other brands like Tesla, like Xpeng, they have multiple upgrades, sometimes during the same month, but at the very minimum, once a month. Now, I received this car in December 2024. It's now May 2025. Now, other people have received this firmware upgrade, but I haven't seen a video yet where they've gone through the process of the upgrade and then presenting the new. This is why I'm doing this particular video. But overall, it's been about 6 months, and this is the first firmware upgrade I'm receiving, or the OTA update I'm receiving from BYD. And I am in Australia. So for international viewers, you may get different updates for your vehicle. Depends on the continent. Like, of course, in China, the firmware that they provide for the BYD Seals there are much different and more advanced than what they supply here in Australia. And similar in Europe. Europe also have very specific features that are enabled in their updates, and they get much more regular updates, because I've been following this for quite some months. They get much more regular updates than we do here in Australia. Nevertheless, it's still great that they finally released an update for this vehicle. Now, what I do remember is when I was inquiring about firmware upgrades for the BYD Seal, I was advised in about December 2024 that BYD Australia had ceased the firmware, the OTA updates. And the reason why is because there were bugs in the new firmware that stopped the BYD Seal from charging from some public chargers in Australia. Not all, but some, and that honestly is not good enough. So I agreed, of course, when I heard that they stopped the updates, that BYD stopped the updates for the BYD Seals, because I certainly wouldn't want to go to a public charger and find out that even though the apps would say the Seal would charge, that it actually wouldn't charge. That would be quite annoying. So it's important that bugs are fixed, and now I understand they are, which is why they rolled out these upgrades in batches. Now, the first batch of the firmware upgrades was in the first week of May. We're now approaching the final week and the final day actually of May. Tomorrow is the 31st of May. Today is the 30th of May when I'm applying this, and I only got this notification today. So it would have been nice, of course, to have this much earlier in the month, but that's something out of my control. So I just have to rely on BYD Australia for when they actually apply these batches for the vehicles. Now, it's very likely that the first batch of cars were the oldest batch of cars, like the first ones that were sold in Australia. Because this is quite a new vehicle, it's only from December 2024, and it's the last 2024 model before the upgraded 2025 model, then it makes sense that I would have received this OTA update near the end of the batches. Now, with the 2025 model Seal, of course, there are upgrades, quite nice upgrades, where they updated the suspension system into the new DCS model. And that's one of the things that I noticed about this particular car, is when you're driving it from anywhere from 0 to 40 kilometers per hour, the car is more bumpy than it should be. Like, you can feel the bumps on the road more than what you should feel. And the reason I say that is I also own a BYD Atto 3, and the Atto 3 handles road bumps much more smoother. It's much more comfort than what I experienced with the Seal. But of course, over 40 kilometers per hour, it drives like a normal car. It feels like a normal car. It's smooth, it's nice. And the other feature that they included in the updated BYD Seal 2025 was a sunshade, a motor sunshade. And the difference between the 2024 model and the 2025 model is the sunshade that's applied on this particular model of the vehicle is a clip sunshade. So it's manual. You've got to basically put it on yourself, and it's in two halves, the front half and the back half. I've never personally used it. They give it to you for free. I got it for free with the car included, but I've never actually used it. I've never experienced a day so hot that the cabin was uncomfortable. So I've had the BYD Seal now for 6 months. I've driven it in hot conditions. I've driven it in now cold conditions because we're in May, so it's getting colder as we go further into the year in Australia. And I actually don't have a problem, and I don't really think I need the sunshade. Even though it's included with the car, I don't actually think I need it. So overall, this car has been one of the better cars I've driven. It's really, really a pleasure to drive, and especially in long distances. Now, you may remember when I did videos, a 4-part series on EV versus ICE. On episode 4, I talked about the trip from home to Port Macquarie, which was 441 kilometers. Now, previously, I do the trip. I've gone to Port Macquarie a number of times with family. We love it there. And when I did the trip in an ICE vehicle, and particularly it's a Mazda CX-5, when I did the trip there, I spent typically about $300 on fuel. The next time I did it, I had the BYD Atto 3. And the Atto 3, even though it says 480 kilometers on a 100% charge, it's got a 60 kilowatt battery. Typically I get 408 or 410 kilometers out of a full charge. So in that case, the Atto 3 obviously cannot make it to 441 kilometers on one trip. So I would typically stop around the Newcastle area at a public charger. I charge the car back to about 80% and I continue the trip to the resort. And of course I did the trip. One thing I should mention is when I did it with the Atto 3, the charging cost was typically about $28 or $29 one way. So of course I would have to double that for the trip home from Port Macquarie to home. So it would typically cost me about $50, $52, something like that. So then I did the trip with the BYD Seal maybe a month ago or some weeks ago. And I reported on that in that episode. Now, because of this is the long range, the Premium is a long range model. If you get the performance, it's got all-wheel drive, 2 motors front and back, so you lose, unfortunately, in those scenarios. Even though you get the acceleration boost, you get very fast performance, you get better handling, and you get a bit more tech in the performance model. However, you do lose range. And that's one of the reasons I preferred the Premium, because it's a longer range vehicle. Now what that meant for me is because it does at least 510 kilometers one way on a full charge, I was able to make it to Port Macquarie quite easily. I had 93 kilometers left at the time, which is what I reported in episode 4 of the EV versus ICE. And the resort had 2 on-site chargers, which they were 7 kilowatt chargers, and they supply that to the guests, which meant I was able to charge the car for free. And then when I took the car back one way without a charge, I got home and it was still 21% by the time I got home, about 123 kilometers left. So the entire cost of the trip was $0. From home to Port Macquarie, and the trip all through Port Macquarie where we went and visited different things and charged it 100% overnight by the time I got home for the trip home. And by the time I got home, I had spent $0 on fuel, on charging. And that's a marked difference between having an ICE vehicle and even the ATO 3. What's $50? It's pretty good when you're traveling 441 kilometers and not having to spend that much on fuel or charging. But with the Seal, I was able to do it for free. So things get better over time, and the difference between the ATO 3 and the Seal was 1 year. When I purchased the ATO 3, it was about October 23, and when I purchased the Seal, it was December 24. And look at the difference in technology, look at the difference in battery performance. The Seal comes with an 82 kilowatt battery. Such a huge battery. It may not be fully optimized like the way Tesla optimize their batteries, but it still does the job, and it does it very well. The drive itself in the BYD Seal was extremely comfortable. The large majority of the time I drove in the BYD Seal, I let the car do the driving. All I had to do was have my hand on the steering, and I enabled the lane assist, I enabled automatic cruise control. So the large majority of the time, traveling on the F1 freeway and traveling on motorways, the car did the driving for me. I really didn't have to do much. And I do remember we did take a stop, but I didn't need to do any charging. We just had a meal. We had the normal toilet break. We had all of that sort of stuff. And then we continued on the trip to Port Macquarie. And we did very much the same thing coming back. So overall, I've been extremely impressed with this car. It is a beautiful car. It is nice to drive. It is fast, especially in sports mode. Sports mode is extremely responsive, especially when you've got sports braking and sports steering with sports mode enabled. It becomes a different car, completely different car. I prefer to drive it in economy with comfort steering and comfort braking and comfort parking, because I drive this regularly on short trips. But it is a very comfortable car to drive. Well, there we have it. We just finished half the upgrade. I hope you enjoyed it. The next video will actually complete the upgrade and of course do post updates. If you did like the video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share the content or comment. It all really helps us. Until the next episode, I hope to see you then. Bye for now.